Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into the world of Bitcoin wallets today, specifically Blitz Wallet.
Yeah, this one's got some interesting stuff going on under the hood.
Now, whether you're new to Bitcoin or you've been hodling for a while, I think you'll find this deep dive pretty interesting. We're going to break down what makes Blitz tick, what sets it apart from the crowd.
And why it might just become your new go-to wallet.
Exactly. So Blitz Wallet, it's a mobile-first app available on both iOS and Android.
And it's designed specifically for Bitcoin. No altcoins here, just pure, unadulterated Bitcoin.
Which I have to say I kind of appreciate. There's something refreshing about that kind of focus.
Absolutely. It really streamlines the experience and shows they're serious about Bitcoin's core values.
Speaking of core values, one of the big ones with Bitcoin is self-custody, right? And that's something Blitz emphasizes heavily.
Absolutely. Self-custody means you're in control of your Bitcoin. You hold your own private keys, which is like having the keys to your own vault. No more relying on third parties, no more trusting exchanges with your hard-earned sats.
Right, so it's all about giving you, the user, more control and flexibility over your own money.
Exactly. And Blitz has managed to combine this self-custody ethos with a surprisingly user-friendly design.
Yeah, that's one of the things that impressed me. They've managed to make self-custody less intimidating for newcomers, while still offering some pretty powerful features for more experienced users.
Definitely. It's a delicate balance, and I think they've pulled it off quite well.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those features. One of the first things that caught my eye is the built-in Bitcoin purchasing.
Yeah, especially for users in the US and Canada.
Right, for now at least.
Yeah.
But it just makes the on-ramp so much smoother. You can literally go from 0 to Bitcoin in minutes, all within the app.
And the fees are super transparent, which is always a good thing.
Totally. They're upfront about the 1% spread on purchases.
And there are no withdrawal fees, which is always a nice bonus.
For sure. But let's talk privacy for a second, because this is where Blitz gets really interesting. One of their big selling points is the lack of KYC requirements for certain transactions.
Yeah, KYC, or Know Your Customer, can be a real pain for people who value their privacy.
It's basically a bunch of hoops you have to jump through to prove your identity.
Which, let's be honest, can feel pretty invasive, especially if you're just trying to make a simple purchase or pay a bill with Bitcoin.
Right. And this is where Blitz shines. They've got this really cool web platform that lets you do things like pay bills or even sell your Bitcoin.
All without having to go through those cumbersome KYC procedures.
It's all about giving you options and putting you in control.
Exactly. Now, it's worth noting that this KYC-free approach might not be available in all jurisdictions or for all transaction types.
But regulations are always changing, so it's always good to double-check the fine print.
Always a good idea. But the fact that they're even offering this level of privacy is pretty impressive.
Totally. And here's where things get even more interesting. Blitz doesn't just support the main Bitcoin network.
Oh no, they've gone full multi-chain on us.
They have. You can transact on the Lightning Network, Liquid Network, even eCash.
It's like having a Swiss Army knife of Bitcoin networks right there in your pocket.
I love that analogy. So imagine this. You're at a coffee shop, and you want to buy a latte with Bitcoin. Do you use the main Bitcoin network, which can be a bit slow and pricey for a small transaction like that?
Or do you zip over to the Lightning Network, which is like the fast lane for Bitcoin transactions?
Exactly. Quick, cheap, and perfect for everyday purchases. Now, let's say you're sending a larger amount of Bitcoin, maybe to a friend or family member. You might want to consider using the Liquid Network.
Yeah, Liquid adds an extra layer of security. Think of it like an armored truck for your Bitcoin.
And then there's eCash, which is all about privacy for those everyday transactions.
Right, like a digital envelope for your Bitcoin, keeping your financial affairs discreet.
Exactly. So with Blitz, you've got options. You can choose the network that best suits your needs and your risk tolerance.
It's all about giving you the tools and the knowledge to navigate the Bitcoin world with confidence.
And speaking of confidence, one of the most unique and frankly kind of brilliant features of Blitz is something they call the automated sovereignty stack.
Yeah, this one really caught my attention. It's like having a personal Bitcoin security advisor built right into the app.
Okay, so imagine you're just starting out with Bitcoin. You've only got a small amount, maybe what you'd spend on a nice dinner or a weekend getaway. Blitz recognizes this and automatically suggests using eCash for those smaller transactions.
Right, because at that level, eCash provides a good balance of privacy and ease of use.
Exactly. But as your Bitcoin holdings grow, as you level up your Bitcoin game, so to speak.
Blitz levels up its security recommendations right along with you.
Precisely. It might start suggesting you move a portion of your Bitcoin to a Lightning channel for those smaller, everyday purchases.
While keeping the bulk of your savings more secure on the main Bitcoin network or even liquid.
It's like Blitz is constantly adapting to your needs, making sure your Bitcoin is as secure as it needs to be without you having to become a security expert overnight.
And it does all this subtly in the background. You don't need to configure anything or worry about making the wrong choices.
It just works. And honestly, that's a game changer, especially for people who are new to Bitcoin and maybe a bit intimidated by all the technical jargon and security considerations.
Absolutely. Blitz takes care of the heavy lifting so you can focus on what really matters, using your Bitcoin freely and confidently.
Okay, so we covered a lot of ground here, and we're just getting started. We talked about self-custody, seamless Bitcoin purchases, the whole KYC thing, and even Blitz's multi-network approach, not to mention the automated sovereignty stack. It's a lot to unpack.
But before we get ahead of ourselves...
Right. There's so much to talk about with Blitz.
There really is.
I'm still reeling from that automated sovereignty stack thing. It's such a cool concept.
It really is. It's like they've anticipated the needs of Bitcoin users at every stage of their journey.
And made it so much easier for people to level up their security without even really thinking about it.
Exactly.
Okay, but you know what else sounds kind of complicated? This whole multi-layered privacy and security thing. I mean, it sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work in practice?
Well, one of the key technologies Blitz uses is something called the Cashew protocol.
Cashew protocol.
Yeah.
Like the nut.
Exactly. It sounds a bit funny, I know.
It does.
But it's actually a really elegant solution for enhancing privacy on the Bitcoin network. Essentially, Cashew helps to anonymize your transactions, making it much harder to trace your funds, especially for smaller amounts.
Okay, so it's like a digital privacy screen for my Bitcoin.
Exactly. And the best part is you don't need to understand the technical details of how it works.
Right. I'm all for simplicity when it comes to privacy. Just make it work.
Exactly. Blitz takes care of all the complexities behind the scenes, so you can just focus on using your Bitcoin securely and privately.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about Cashew, but there's another technical thing I wanted to ask you about. Automated Lightning channel creation.
Ah, yes. That's a fun one, or at least I think it's fun.
Well, you're the expert. For those of us who aren't as technically inclined, can you explain it in a way that even I could understand?
Absolutely. So remember how we talked about the Lightning Network being like the fast lane for Bitcoin transactions?
Right, perfect for buying that latte we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Now, to access this fast lane, you need to open something called a Lightning channel. Think of it like setting up a direct connection with another person on the network.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Now, traditionally, setting up these Lightning channels could be a bit of a manual process. A bit fiddly, you know?
Yeah, I'm starting to see where this is going.
But with Blitz, they've completely automated the process.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. As your balance in Blitz grows and you start using the Lightning Network more frequently, Blitz will automatically open these channels for you in the background.
Wow, so it's like having a personal assistant for your Bitcoin. One who's really good at networking, I guess.
That's a great way to put it. It's constantly working behind the scenes to optimize your transactions for speed and low fees, all without you having to lift a finger.
So I can just sit back, relax, and
Yeah.
let Blitz handle the technical stuff.
Exactly. It's all about making the user experience as smooth and intuitive as possible.
That is seriously impressive. Okay, before we move on, can we circle back to the automated sovereignty stack for a second?
Sure. What did you want to know about it?
Well, you mentioned it starts with eCash for smaller amounts, but what happens as your Bitcoin balance grows? How does Blitz guide you toward using those other networks, like Lightning and Liquid?
That's a great question. So it's like the more Bitcoin you have, the more Blitz kind of nudges you towards these other options.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right balance for your specific needs.
And Blitz helps you do that automatically.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. I mean, most wallets just kind of throw you in the deep end and say, good luck.
Right. But Blitz is more like, hey, we gotcha. We're going to help you level up your Bitcoin game.
Exactly. It's like having a personal Bitcoin coach in your pocket.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about empowering users, giving them the tools and knowledge they need to navigate the Bitcoin world with confidence.
Okay, so to wrap things up, we've covered a ton of ground today. We talked about self-custody, the ease of buying and selling Bitcoin on Blitz, those pesky KYC requirements, or the lack thereof in Blitz's case.
And let's not forget about those multiple networks, Lightning, Liquid, eCash. Blitz has got it all.
Seriously.
Right.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of Bitcoin wallets.
It really is. And the automated sovereignty stack. Genius.
Absolutely genius. For someone who's maybe on the fence about trying Blitz, what would you say makes it stand out from the crowd?
Honestly, I think it's the
I think that's a great way to put it. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into Blitz Wallet. Huge thanks to you, as always, for breaking it all down for us.
anytime. It was a pleasure nerding out about Bitcoin with you.
Always a good time. And to everyone listening, we hope you found this deep dive insightful and maybe even a little inspiring.
Yeah, go check out Blitz Wallet. It might just be the perfect Bitcoin wallet you've been looking for.
And with that, we'll catch you all on the next deep dive.